Morning. Today is the 13th of September and we are in fact on our way to Surrey to film a rather special car that I've been trying to get on the channel for quite some time. I have put a bit of charge in the car this morning. The reason I didn't actually charge it overnight is because as you might have seen in some previous videos, where we are, we don't really have a way of charging the car without running the cable out of the window. And in this particular one, because of the location of the charging port, you sort of have to leave one of the main windows wide open, and somebody could just walk straight through the window and start burning the house. So we don't really want to just sort of go to bed and leave the window open. It would be very silly. So you have to have somebody who's sort of up and about if you're going to be doing that. So I've only managed to charge the car to about 70%, which is okay. It's about 22 miles. I might use a bit of EV range actually when we get to the N25, because where I'm actually going is just inside the N25. So we might use a bit of EV range, just lock into EV mode and get some more impressive fuel economy figures. I suppose one thing I don't think I've covered so far during the enormous amount of miles that we've done since last Wednesday is really the driving experience of this car. Last night we had a look at the engine compartment, and it's a bit crowded in their comparison with the standard petrol HS. But every HS sold in this country has the same engine. I think there was a 2-litre engine sort of markets, but the engine actually was co-developed with General Motors, and it's actually very similar to the one that was found in the pre-facelift version of the current generation of Vauxhall Insignia, although it's been dropped now. When the engine's cold, you can actually hear it, and you can hear it really almost as if it was just a normal car without any form of electrical assistance. In front of me, as I've shown before, is not a rev counter, it's sort of like a power meter, and it acts like a rev counter. I mean, you know, if you do put your foot down, even if you're only in EV mode, it will sort of whiz around and show you how much power that you're actually using. And there's a little red bit at the top if you really want to be extravagant. But when the engine warms up, there is no temperature gauge or anything in here to be able to see if it's warm. It becomes a lot quieter, and that's probably, you know, same for most cars, to be honest. Engines in some of them do sound very, very rattly when they're cold. I know my 45 V6 does. The combination of the electric motor and petrol engine develops about 258 horsepower in our market. It's slightly down some other markets due to emissions regulations, but it's absolutely all you'd probably ever need, because 0 to 60 in this car is about 6.9 seconds. It's about 3 seconds quicker than the standard petrol manual HS, such as the one I drove in December 2019. I don't think I've extensively also said that when we filmed one of these initially in December 2020 at Summit Garage in Dudley, we had to rush through the review really, really quickly. We just didn't have enough time to do it. Just various things came against us, and I had some comments actually that, you know, why didn't you focus on certain things? It's just we just didn't have the time to do many insert shots. I think we did the whole thing in 1 hour and 20 minutes, which for a modern car like this, you know, you've got to bear in mind we also did drive-bys in a driving section and all kinds of things. We did it on proper equipment. It does take a while to film a car like this. If you're doing no budget reviews, and I can do those quite quickly, because there's not really much to talk about in terms of, I don't know, a stereo-stroke infotainment system, whereas in this, you know, it's one of the most complicated systems I've seen. It's not necessarily bad. There are far worse systems than this, It's mostly pretty intuitive to use, apart from this heating ventilation control business where it's being buried in touchscreen, which is a common criticism for a lot of cars these days. Apart from that, it's not too bad. It just takes a while to go through it, and so having the luxury of driving this around over a very extended period, and we will cover over 1,000 miles this week easily by the time the car goes back to MG on Wednesday, which will be in 2 days. So you can't say we haven't comprehensively tested everything and driven on all kind of different sort of roads, although I don't think we've done a lot of town driving in this, just because of where we've had to go and what I've been doing. But it's not the most sporty car in a way, apart from performance, which is literally electric. The car has quite a soft ride, and that's really good for going over bumps. I mean, I drove over a railway crossing in the Lake District in this, and the car barely felt it. It barely felt it. I then drove a Renault Twingo over the same crossing, and it bounced around everywhere. So it just shows how soft the ride is. I mean, the camera just bounced around sometimes in this, but it's nowhere near the same as it would be in many other cars I've driven. And one of the greatest things about an HS is just the level of comfort in it, and the fact that it just eats up the miles. It just eats up the miles and keeps going. It's absolutely remarkable in that respect, and I really like the way that it does that. I think that's one of the main reasons why somebody would choose one of these. But then we're getting back into the whole issue, which I don't really want to have to conclude in part 3 of this, as to whether or not a plug-in hybrid suits someone's individual lifestyle. As someone who professionally does source cars, and that's what is my job, YouTube isn't my full-time job. It is really just a kind of thing which is associated with the business rather than actually being a main source of income or actual work. I'm very, very conscious of reasons why people want to purchase a certain type of car, and I give advice on this sort of thing all the time to people on a professional basis. So, you know, that is something that I think a lot of people don't consider when they watch my channel, is that actually I do this on a professional basis and give advice. It's not just the product of the channel is kind of the be all and all, that's where it stops. And I get, you know, a lot of people ask advice of people who have car channels. I actually do that professionally. Now, whether or not my advice is worth taking is up to you, really, and ultimately that's your sort of decision. But because I recommend cars to people on a professional basis, I'm not a dealer or anything like that. I actually come in from the other point of view, rather than actually trying to sell something to someone. I'm trying to actually find something. I have to be able to justify something quite comprehensively to somebody who would want to buy it, and think about the reasons why they would or why they wouldn't, really. And this has been one of the trickiest things to sort of ascertain with this car, is to, you know, should you actually buy one of these or the standard HS, and that's a tricky one. That's a very tricky one, because I like a lot of things about this car, but I'm trying to just separate the attributes of the standard HS and how good those cars are. And obviously I have driven a standard one, drove that almost 2 years ago on the channel for Tweed Jacket Reviews, and the extra things that the plug-in hybrid variant gives you for that extra sort of £8,000 to £9,000 above the equivalent petrol manual model. I think I'm going to have to think about this question a little bit more thoroughly, and I don't think we're going to get to any answers in part 2. Okay, well, I'll come back a bit later, possibly when we've got to Surrey to car and filming today, or I'll come back later on once we've got back. Let's just see how it goes. Right viewers, there we are. The journey back from Cobham was 54.6 miles, took me about an hour and a quarter. I used EV mode for the first 5 miles and the last 5 miles of the journey, and I got 47.6 miles per gallon. I don't think I'm going to have to fill the car up again. Tomorrow we're going to Weymouth to film another car. I've been trying to get another car that I'm trying to get on my channel for absolutely ages, which will be good. That's probably plenty to get us there and back, and probably trying to get a bit of charge in it as well. But there we are. Switch her off. So that is it for part 2 of 3-year channel anniversary. A week with a 2021 MG HS plug-in hybrid exclusive. Even got the roof open today. Yes, feeling sort of, oh, we can try a bit of that. Although the filth is just getting worse. So yes, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for part 3, where we'll cover just the last couple of days we have of this car. Don't forget to like this video and to leave a comment below. And I'll be pondering that an all-important question: who would be best to own a car like this? I think it's either someone who is a company car driver, because there are lots of benefits to owning one of these, or it's somebody who was in the position that I was in a couple of years ago when I lived in Epsom and was travelling down here every week, which would have been absolutely perfect for my needs. But this is what we drive at the moment. I have enjoyed the comfort though of this very much. It's probably the most comfortable car I've ever driven for long journeys, and if you've done in excess of 800 miles in the course of 5 days, there is grounds for saying so. Anyway, I think that's quite enough of me for now. Good afternoon. Today is the 14th of September and it's the penultimate day with the MG HS plug-in hybrid. Come here actually not just for a trip to the beach, although that's what my lady wife will be doing. We've also come here to film this. I've been trying to film with Carl, who owns this car, for 18 months, and rather than where he actually lives, he happens to be in a holiday area, so we came down to the beach. It's not too far to get to Weymouth from where we are, so we thought we might as well do that. Whilst we're here, I have had the car cleaned. I had it cleaned this morning before we came, and it is looking very, very shiny indeed. So I'm just going to get in. I'll look at the statistics for the range and that sort of thing. Let's just get in here. Got the key on me this time, so I haven't moved up the stake again. I'll shut the door actually, just to speed the process of doing this up a bit. Go. Right, just have it ready. It doesn't come on. If it does, I will press the mute button. Right, there we go. So, I filled up in Cobham yesterday, and I now have 218 miles of petrol, and I charged the car to about 74% this morning, because that's all I could manage whilst I was actually in, and I'm on 64, and we've driven around 65 miles to Weymouth today. So that's not too bad actually. I think the petrol range was on something like 330 when it's full. It's something like that. So that's pretty good. It's about the same. About 65 miles up from Cobham, 60-65. So we're doing all right. Let's just go this way and we'll see. Current journey, of course, I've not gone anywhere, but we can see the accumulated total, 926 miles. You're going to add 60 or so to that for the trip to Salisbury and back. which was on the Wednesday. So we're not doing too badly. The car's nice and clean in here now and everything, so that's obviously better. There was bits of stuff everywhere. So I think I might get a chance to record some footage on the road today. We're meeting a friend at a pub near Beer Regis on the way back for some supper. So yes, a pleasant day really, but I've just heard from the MG Motor UK people that they're taking the car away at 11:30 tomorrow, and that is going to be a little bit sad. I think I'm going to miss it. Obviously, when you spend this amount of time with a person or anything really, maybe I don't know, even like a dog or something like that, then it does leave some effect, and this is perhaps no exception. It's been quite a journey, literally. Right, I suppose I better pause that for now and come back a bit later once we've done the focus. So here we are, viewers. The panoramic sunroof's actually open. A little crack because I fancy just giving it a try. I think it's about 62 miles back to Eastleigh from here. Got 218 miles of petrol range.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
Sorry, my lady wife is just just using her phone for Android Auto in the background. One thing I am aware of when driving down a road like this is that it's actually quite wide, and there is a switch for folding in the mirrors should I need to, but it is appreciably bigger than both the cars we normally drive. But that's very common with these, new, they call this sort of C/D segment SUV, but it's definitely priced like a C segment one, so sort of Hyundai Tucson or Volkswagen Tiguan size. The thing I remember about this car most of all is the comfort. Extraordinary comfort and very, very high levels of safety. Even now we're going around a mini roundabout, there's little tiny cameras in the wings shown down the side of the car, so you've got like a wall next to you or something like that, but you can see where the wall is. When I was parking today in a multi-storey car park in Eastleigh, I actually did use the cameras to help me out, and it was very handy actually that you have a large car in a little tight car park like that. And the ride, it's very, very soft in comparison with most cars. I wouldn't say this is the best chassis I've ever driven, but it's still extremely good for what it is. The body roll is quite noticeable, but the handling's actually alright for this type of car. MG was famous in the early 2000s making cars like the ZR and the ZS, which handled extremely well, despite being based on underpinnings which dated back to the old Honda Rover collaboration designs. And they've had a chance now to sort of make their own car very much from whatever they really wanted, and they've done pretty well in terms of what most people would want a car like this to do. We're approaching the 1,000-mile mark for a week's worth of driving in this car, and it's been just extraordinarily good in so many ways, and it's done everything that I've asked it to do. Clearly the main people who benefit from a car like this, as opposed to just the standard petrol, automatic or manual versions, would be company car drivers and the big tax savings you can have in a plug-in hybrid if you don't want to go full electric. That really is just it. Do you want to go full electric, or do you want to just stick for now whilst you've still got these 9 years left before the ban comes in on all fossil fuel cars? Just to stick with a manual HS compared with other rivals like the Senior Corando that I've driven. I think these are actually better equipped for the price than the Corandos are, although those are available for big discounts at the moment. I like both, of course. The only big disadvantage with an MG is you can't get a beige leather interior. I'm very fond of beige leather interiors, viewers, as you know. But this real leather interior that's in this exclusive car is very good. I'm not so keen on these sort of rally kind of style slits in here for putting a 5-point harness in here, but I suppose it gives the car a little bit more character. But it's just like most modern cars, it's a very, very dark interior, but I don't know if I necessarily like that. Anyway, let's kind of see where we are tomorrow. I've been informed when the car's being picked up, as I said, and I'll put a bit of charge in it, and I suppose we'll look at the sat-nav. I have been told by someone who actually drives one of these cars that I'm being an idiot and I can do full postcode entry, so I'll give that a go, and I think that'll be most of it. Yes, viewers, we're coming to the end of this long and really quite sort of interesting journey, and I hope the car's looked after us well over the past week. This got actual puddle lights and full LED headlamps on this car. That is remarkable. Well, viewers, the time has come to disconnect the MG HS plug-in hybrid for one final time. Car is showing 81% charged. I think I've got about 100 and something miles of petrol range as well. That should be enough for the driver from MG to take it back to where it needs to go. But yes, we'll just disconnect that. Car's on. Hold on a second, viewers. We might need to do something with this to see if we can. There we go. Right. We'll try to sort of wrap this cable up, and we'll get it in the car, and we'll drive over to the station to pick the driver up, and then that'll be the end of our time with this car. Bit sad, really. So we have 163 miles in total, 137 with petrol engine, and 81%, 26 miles with the electric system. There we go, kilometre total. Got to add about 60 miles to that, because did go to Wilton near Salisbury last Wednesday before that was all reset. So there you go. Absolutely crazy. There's all my efficiency figures. Been driving this car for almost an actual day, just short of 24 hours. Crazy. So here we are, viewers, the final drive of the 2021 MG HS plug-in hybrid exclusive. What a way to celebrate 3 years of being on YouTube. Extraordinary. Very fast, very comfortable car. Very, very, very well equipped. Very good warranty package. Lots and lots and lots of safety features. Excellent adaptive cruise control. very, very, very able as well to get out of difficult situations like sort of junctions really, really quickly if you need to. Very capable of overtaking very quickly when you need to. The conclusion really is this. This car suits someone who does a lot of driving short distances most of the time. So if you do under 30 miles a day most of the time, this car is perfect for you, but you need to do additional longer journeys sometimes, and you just don't want to have to wait for an electric car to charge, or you for some reason have problems with the infrastructure around the journeys you'd be doing. But this is perfect. You don't have to wait really very long to put over 300 miles of range in it from the 40 litre fuel tank, or at least I think it's about 40 litres. It seems to be that, having put petrol in it myself. The way this car just eats up the miles is extraordinary. It's also very, very spacious, and I think it's a nice looking car. I prefer the Pimlico blue colour that they have of these, but yes, it's just extraordinary how much this car has been a very good companion over the last week. I think I do need to try a conventional petrol engined HS to actually have an idea of whether or not that would be better for somebody in my position. But if you're a company car driver, or a lot of your journeys are very short, then you can get 200-300 miles per gallon very, very easily on short journeys. And if you're got the company car use, and again, particularly if you're doing the shorter journeys a lot of the time, then you can get massive tax benefits, and also ridiculous economy figures by keeping it charging. And you know, I've always known with plug-in hybrids that's what you've got to do. You've got to use that electric motor as much as possible. For the rest of us, well, because this car costs something like £9,000 more than a manual HS exclusive, and it costs more than an MG PHEV, which is a car I really like, and lots of people as well, even those people who don't like electric cars seem to really love it, and I understand why. Because this car costs more than one of those, even the long range ones, you do have to think quite carefully about what your options are. And you know, that's really something for someone on an individual basis to think about. And if it happens to be you and you're thinking about getting one of these but you're not sure, it could be something that a job of work that I actually do for you. Think about that. Not that I'm touting a business or anything. Just park her up and switch her off. There we go. So thank you for watching this series of videos about the week and over 1,000 miles we've covered of this 2021 MG HS exclusive plug-in hybrid variant. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more exciting things, or seemingly exciting things. I certainly enjoy most of what we do. Like this, leave a comment below. If I can quickly have a look at the sat-nav now, because I've just arrived at the station, I will do so. I'll take a little look and see if I can sort of work out how to do the post-entry and film it. But apart from that, thank you for being with us on this journey, quite literally.